Welcome to Showtime All the Time podcast. I'm Dennis Bickmeyer, the Executive Director of the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority. We're thrilled to welcome the head coach of the University of Richmond Women's Spiders basketball team, Coach Aaron Roussell. Coach, thanks for joining us. Welcome.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Dennis. Great to be here.
So this is Coach's 6th year at the University of Richmond, right? And 20th year overall as a head coach. It can't be. You're not that old, Coach. Come on.
I've got other people in my life telling me how old I am, so I appreciate the compliment, but sometimes the 20 years, I think it may even be 21, the 6 years feels incredible. I cannot believe it. It's been 6 years, but the COVID year, I don't know if that should count as 1 year or
that's
5
like
years.
Dog years.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, again, we appreciate you being here. I know you guys are driving towards the end of the season and focused on winning the regular season and getting that number 1 seed in the Atlantic 10 Women's Basketball Championship Tournament at the Henrico Sports and Event Center. And that's really, part of what our focus is today. So I want to remind everybody, March 5th through the 9th for the tournament. But before we get into the tournament, give us your assessment on the Spider season so far this year.
Well, a coach's assessment in February, this is probably maybe sometimes too critical, but really have enjoyed being with this team. They're very coachable. 15 kids, knock on wood here. We've been relatively healthy. I think that was a big part of last season was that, the lineup and the rotation was pretty much the standard throughout the season. This year we've been fortunate and they play really well together. I think everybody that comes to watch us play just talks about just the unselfishness, how well they play together, and we've been blessed. We've got some kids that have been in the system for a while, and so I think we're happy. As much as a coach can be happy in February, things are going well, and we got 5 weeks. You're probably doing the countdown more than I am right now. 5-6 weeks to go here, but. For a coach to be happy in February, things must be going pretty well.
Well, you guys come into the tournament as a defending tournament champion. So I want you to take us back a year ago, new venue for the tournament. And again, we appreciate your help and Coach O'Boyle and everybody here in the local community talking to the A10 on our behalf and getting that tournament here. But talk about that run last year and then, again, moving into a new venue with the championship.
Yeah, well, you guys did a phenomenal job with that. You've heard me say that a bajillion times. Facility was top-notch. I mean, obviously, it's new. There's a new vibe to it. So just the facility-wise, we couldn't have asked for anything better. The way it was run, though, and I know you guys have probably been fielding, I don't know any complaints. I haven't heard a single complaint, compliments here for a while, but it's amazing to me, whether it's at my kids' sporting events or other things, the number of people who I didn't know that came and said how much they enjoyed that tournament, and obviously there's a bias here that we won the thing, so hopefully but maybe it helped you guys a little bit there too, but just the number of people in town, it was a big time event in the city of Richmond and in this area, so kudos to you guys. We kind of, I would say put pressure, but being the defending champion, we can keep talking about our players of, hey, we got to wear white, we got to wear our white uniforms the whole time, so that's been a little bit of a push right now for us to the path was great last year. We want to hopefully kind of replicate that this year.
Well, you guys, like VCU last year, have a little bit more history in the Sports and Event Center as well. You played a game earlier this year against Columbia. Talk about, again, the importance of that and getting your club ready to come back for March. Yeah,
and, obviously it worked out well. Another one that things work out well when you're winning. But we had a really, really good Columbia team here. I think they're a top 40 team. Probably even cracking that top 25, in the argument for that. I think they're still undefeated, I think, in the Ivy League right now. So that was a big-time win for us. But, again, just to get ourselves there again, to be on the floor, to get our shoes on the floor there, to be in the locker room, I think that was a benefit for us. Again, it's a great facility, but I think we played well the 3 games there last year and a little bit of pressure to do that again this year. Again, we can say defending champions, we can say all that sort of stuff. We're still a relatively new team this year. And so for those 7-8 kids that didn't get that experience last year to be on the floor again, hopefully gives us some benefit here in a few weeks.
And your schedule this year, I know a lot's been made of your schedule this year. So talk about that. Again, that importance of that non-conference schedule to get you ready for conference play, to get you ready for March.
Yeah, and the A10's been a great year here the last couple of years, especially. Last year, what our teams did in the postseason was great. You look at Us having another solid season this year, but even George Mason and St. Joe's, the seasons that they're having and the rest of the league. I mean, we went up to Fordham, this year and got our tails kicked in a little bit. So it's a really, really strong league, and we kind of went into it saying twofold. We wanted to prepare ourselves for another run in the A10, so you had to play some tough opponents to prepare you for that. Scheduling wasn't easy this year. Obviously, when you have success the season before, there was not a positive reception to a lot of phone calls that we were making. And so that put us in the category of, some of the targeted tournaments, some of the targeted things we wanted didn't work out. And so all of a sudden, you got teams like Alabama and Tennessee and Texas that's another pool, which, again, for us, we wanted to go play some of those teams. I don't know if we necessarily, at the beginning of the construction of the schedule, was, hey, let's go play all of them. But I think that you look back at it, and I think there was maybe a little bit of pressure, but I think for us it was, hey, we have some opportunities here. And it was daunting, but I think looking back, it accomplished everything that we hoped it could, right? With the preparation that we have right now, just the experiences. That Texas game, I mean, you're watching Texas blow out top 25 teams by 25 to 40 points. And for us to have a competitive game there in the last few minutes, the Tennessee game maybe got away from us a little bit. But, that Alabama game for us, it's a top 20 team, and we had a 4-point lead there in the last couple minutes. And so in a weird way, you can say those losses gave you some confidence, but I think it did prepare us for what we're going through right now.
Yeah, I want to come back to that too in a second, but I just want to remind everyone too, tickets are available. Go to Atlantic10.com/tickets. And we talked about, we built a solid foundation last year with the tournament, year one, got a few more years on the agreement with the A10 and hope many more beyond that. But part of our responsibility is to continue to build this championship. So I just want to remind everyone, we got all kinds of events within the event. I'm reaching for flyers here. We got a chamber event on Wednesday, March 5th. So if you're a chamber member or know somebody in the chamber, come out on March 5th and check that out. On Saturday, as part of International Women's Day brunch, we're going to post these on this podcast as well. But we have a panel of trailblazers in leadership. So Commissioner McGlade from the A10, Angela Royston from Virginia Credit Union, Misty Roundtree, our own member of the Board of Supervisors here in Henrico, and Lori Warren, the president of Richmond Raceway. So it's a great brunch event, as well as a ticket to the semifinals. And then something new this year that we're doing with our corporate community on top of the chamber event, but we have some corporate ticket vouchers that we're selling as blocks as well that can be redeemed for any of the sessions. So trying some new things, Coach, and to get some more people in the building. But I think what really struck me last year is you guys had a great following with your fans coming to the building. There were some other people that were just kind of intrigued about a championship event, being in our community for the first time. But also, I think, just where women's basketball is right now. Can you talk a little bit about that trajectory that women's basketball is on?
I will, but I hope we're at a point soon where we say tickets are not available anymore.
Right.
I mean, and again, Dennis, I couldn't tell you how many times that this has happened. I know I mentioned it earlier of how much fun people had at that. I think a lot of them were our fans. I've had numerous people that have never been to a Richmond women's basketball game, had never been to a VCU game until then. Good. And so I think, yes, women's basketball in the national landscape is on an awesome trajectory right now. But I think even locally too, right? Like this is, you guys have been in this business here for a while. There's not a professional team here. Right. And so, I was at the VCU Richmond men's game the other day. Like, what an awesome environment. I know it didn't work out well for us, but it was an awesome environment. And kind of what our VCU game, we had close to 4,000 people at our game, and there was 2 of those sessions, I think, last year that were sold out. And we got to get to that point that there's more of them. I know we've jokingly said we can find some additional seating, if we need to in that place.
I'll take that challenge.
You'll take it, yeah. But no, I mean, again, if you were not there last year, come check it out. If you were there last year, I know you're coming back because, again, just the feedback that we got from it. So you guys did an awesome job with that. And if we don't have that thing filled, then something's wrong because it was a really, really cool experience last year. We're
going to keep banging that drum. Right. So I do want to go back to kind of what awaits the winner of the championship, an automatic bid to the NCAA. And, again, I know it's a long grind of a season. How do you approach that with your team when you get down to, okay, regular season's over, it's tournament time? I guess for some of those teams that are maybe on the lower side of the conference, it's a chance to create some March Madness. And then for those that are in the upper echelon, like, hey, these guys are gunning for us, to try to knock us off. How do you mentally, physically, how do you prepare for all that?
To be honest with you, we really haven't talked about the tournament much. Maybe there's a bad practice or a bad moment in practice. Like, hey, is this really how we're going to be on March 9th, March 5th, whenever this thing starts here? So maybe we reference it a little bit, but I think it's more in the preseason that it's, hey guys, like that was an amazing experience. You want to replicate this? We got to get serious about this. So once you get into the season, we are trying to not micromanage, but just really focus on each possession, right? I know some of these games, I tell our players they're not allowed to look at the scoreboard until the last few minutes, and then my job is to manage that. So really, even more than that, it's focused on the next game, right? I know what lies ahead, even just in the next couple of weeks, and then obviously in 5 weeks here. But we're really trying to just get our kids to really just focus on this. Now, hey, we get that week of March 3rd, that Monday, hey, yeah, we're mapping out what this thing is and what it can lead to, right? Like we've got kids that got to experience the NCAA tournament last year.
The bracket's set, right?
Right,
so,
all of that.
Now you're like, okay, now.
Okay, but then it's really, hey, guys, like that NCAA tournament was a great experience last year, right? We've got a handful of kids that like, I think they, obviously they want to get back, but they're thinking like, how do we win a game? Like we've kind of been there, done that in the NCAA tournament. They're thinking about winning a game in the NCAA tournament. So this is an opportunity, just like the first day of practice for us. We take a look at the banners and we say, hey, everybody has the same dream, right? The fact that we are, quote, there is no defending champion. Like we are chasing the same goal that everybody else is. So, that bracket comes out the night of March 1st and, that March 3rd practice for us is probably the same thing. Hey, here's the bracket, man. Every single one. Y'all grew up with the dream of playing an NCAA tournament and this March Madness thing. Everybody's got the same dream right now. Wherever we are seated or wherever it is, I hope that we feel good about our chances. I hope we feel good about our path. But you got to get this thing done, right? And so that's more of a March conversation for us, other than the kids that got to experience it know it's really cool. So some of these bad practices, they're reminded of it. But otherwise, we try to think a little bit more narrow focus. I'll call it that.
Got that. And you've touched on this a little bit from like the fan standpoint and obviously your team's experience inside the building. But let's take it outside to the community a little bit. One of the things that we focus on a lot with the A10 is that student athlete experience. I'm sure, again, maybe a little more difficult, you being kind of the home team here, but talk about why that is important to student athletes when they go to a championship event.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we've all been to big sporting events, right? And so when you're going there as a fan, like it just feels cool, right? And so, you talked probably with our players and a lot of recruiting conversations having with our players and other ones. It's like that's what they dream about, right? Like they want that environment. The championship Sunday last year was incredible. I'll tell you what, man, the chills I got walking out for that 11 a.m. game on that Friday was awesome.
It was loud in there.
I really. We've done some cool things. I've been very blessed to be in some championship programs and had great teams. That is a lifetime memory for me, just the chills walking out there. Because we just didn't know. I didn't know what it was going to look like. We had
first time for all of us.
All of us, right? And so for it to, maybe we even had high expectations of it, but it blew everything that we thought out of the water. And so again, the memories were great. I mean, I remember coming up into you guys had your own celebration, I think, afterwards.
Right.
Much deserved in coming up there. That was a cool moment. Everything with the confetti. I still have confetti in random spots in our house.
We still find it too, actually.
So that was incredible. But like that's what our kids talk about. Obviously, the winning, all of that sort of stuff. But I can't even picture. I don't want to picture that we didn't win the thing, but if we didn't win the thing, it would still be a cool memory, And I'll say this: we went to our coaches meeting in Naples last year. I was expecting somebody to be like, "Hey, this can't keep being in Richmond," or "We didn't like this," and I was preparing myself for complaints. There wasn't a single other 14 other coaches that had anything negative to say about the experience, and so that's. I think we were searching for that as a league here to find somebody and find something that could match or to give our kids that experience, and I think this one did. And put the pressure on you. It was great last year. We got to do better this year, right?
No, that's good. We want to deliver. That's for sure. So hopefully everyone's inspired by Coach's words there. So again, go to atlantic10.com/tickets and come out and just experience a tremendous event here March 5th through the 9th. So, all right, Coach, we're going to get ready to wrap up here. So one of our traditions on Showtime All the Time podcast is share something, a memory, a piece of memorabilia from your sports career or something that you've experienced in sports. So what do you got for us?
Well, all right. So we've talked a lot about youth sports. I've got my feelings on youth sports. If I come back, reincarnate, my goal is to come back and change, fix a lot of things with youth sports, man. But one of the really coolest experiences I've had is when I got to be an assistant coach. It was my son's baseball team for a few years. And that experience culminated. The 12U went to Cooperstown, New York for the Cooperstown tournament, and just an awesome environment. And I got to coach third base with that group. Son, loves basketball, but baseball is a big part of his growing up too. And he got his first ever home run
nice.
In Cooperstown on those fields.
What a place to get
it was awesome. Like you literally couldn't match it, right? For it to happen in that experience, team was playing really well. It was a big 3-run homer, and I never have my phone coaching, but I'd coach in third base. I remember feeling in my pocket. He hit this thing. I'm coaching third base. I remember sending the kid at first base, so I didn't totally see it. I was like, oh my God, I hear my wife screaming. I see her running to go get the ball. So this was his home run ball.
Awesome.
In Cooperstown. But again, I thought I got my phone out to film him running around the base. I didn't hit the button, so I have a 1 second clip because I did it wrong. But just a cool bonding experience for me and my son and family there, and lifelong friends from that experience. But I've been fortunate to do some cool things. But when it happens to somebody that you love, happens to a player, in your own family, that was a really, really cool moment.
That's
and
awesome.
Hopefully share some more with him.
Did he sign that ball for you?
No, it wasn't signed, but Cooperstown, hey, youth sports, again, this was a great thing, but they actually stamp it there with him. They give him a ring for hitting it. He's 2 years older now, so that looks like a baby picture to me,
That's
but 12
really
years old. So this sits in my basement with some other. I'm not always a big collector of memorabilia, but I don't know that you would know I'm a Richmond women's basketball coach if you were to come into our house. I'm not displaying all of that stuff. But this one was a really cool moment for he and I, and a lifetime memory for sure.
That's awesome. I'm sure you're going to have many more with your family and in the coaching side of it, given your success. So, all right, so I've got a couple. I'm going to cheat. I've got a couple. So first of all, I bet you didn't know, I was a high school basketball coach. I wanted to be a college basketball coach, but I went the administration route, and here I am 36 years later. The rest is history. So coached a few years of high school basketball when I was going to college.
Okay.
So, but I was always a big John Wooden fan. So
we all are.
Yes, exactly.
Hey,
so
all right.
This
I know that.
sits in my office, Coach. This sits in my office. I see it every day. Some of Coach's, obviously, his pyramid of success and some of his great sayings and quotes that are very inspirational. And then had the opportunity to moderate a press conference with Coach Wooden during the John R. Wooden Classic that was hosted a few years in Anaheim, which is another reason we gotta get some more of these types of events here in our community.
Oh, that's awesome!
But
very cool.
I really have cheated. You mentioned this, and I want everybody to know this story. Coach, as he said after the tournament last year, we were all just kind of taking a deep breath, and we were up in the hospitality room at the center, and it started with a small group, but every time someone would walk in, we would just cheer. It was just kind of organic. It just kind of hey, and then it kept getting louder and louder and louder. Someone from the building, an intern, a volunteer walked in, and before you know it, Coach walks in, because I guess we were that loud.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It was one of those, it was such a cool thing. I walked out to the court. It sounds cheesy and corny. I just wanted to have a moment. I walked onto the floor. Nobody else was in there. There's confetti still in there. I think I took a picture of the place, and I saw, as much as it's cool to kind of just take a moment by yourself, you guys looked like you were having fun, man. So I had to come up there and at least come check it out. Wow. But honestly, just to show gratitude, you guys really did knock this thing out of the park.
I will tell you, it meant the world to our team. Coach took a picture with us, so we appreciate that. But it was it was just so cool because, people were like, I can't believe he came by. I can't believe he stopped by. So I want you to know how much that meant to everybody.
Well,
so
I
thank you
appreciate
for that.
I appreciate that. And let's do it all again, man. I know I jokingly put the pressure on you to do it even better. I don't even know how that could be done. But part of it, the atmosphere, let's fill this place, man.
We'll take the advice, that's
all right.
for sure. All right, and then one last thing. So I heard or read, Don's
boy.
been helping me, when you win, and is it mainly on the road? You
It's
guys
road,
go out.
road
and-
wins.
Guys
Yep.
go out and get a little ice cream.
Yes.
So I got a little treat here for you.
Oh.
So we can share a little ice
All
cream.
right.
Hopefully you think this podcast was a win, but
All right, absolutely.
got a spoon for you
All
here,
right.
Coach.
All
So not sure. Hopefully you like that kind.
I'm not picky.
Can't
I'm
go
not
wrong
picky.
with
What do you
chocolate.
got over there?
I got butter pecan if you
Okay.
want to switch.
Okay.
But anyway, so congratulations, Coach, on a tremendous season so far. I know business isn't done yet, but so everyone, Coach and I are going to share a little ice cream. And while we're doing this, you go online, buy those tickets, Atlantic10.com/tickets. We'll enjoy our ice cream. We'll see the ticket count go up. So, Coach, any last thoughts?
No, man, just appreciate time doing this. Really enjoy my time with you guys. You guys have done an awesome job. What a gift to have this tournament here. But honestly, even more than that, talked about my family. I think every home game, I'm darting out of the place to go to another event for my kids. And what you guys are doing with youth sports here in the area is really commendable. It's awesome and very much appreciated. So thank you guys.
I appreciate that, Coach. All right, again, March 5th through the 9th, Atlantic 10 Women's Basketball Championship. Thank you all for tuning in to the Showtime All the Time podcast. We're going to enjoy our ice cream.
All right.
Take care.
Enjoy it.